So I don't really have much of a campaign speech prepared, but as a white male running for office, I feel like it really doesn't matter that much. So I have some jokes, I'll tell those, we'll see how those go. Maybe you'll vote for me, maybe not. You guys think they'll ever come out with an upgraded version of the beta fish? I just love picturing like 3 programming people walking into a venture capitalist office with a fish bowl. They like walk into a conference room, set it on the table, they sit down. VC goes, so what does it do? Like half floats, half swims, feed it like once a year. One day it just dies. Does it do anything else? No, not really, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's still in beta, but no, change nothing. It is perfect as is. We're going to market today. We're going to sell it in every Walmart in America out of these little cubes. They're going to be handled by employees who have no prior animal training experience, and you're going to make millions. All right, where do we sign? So I'm taking an African American history course this semester, and almost every lecture our professor likes to ask us what we think famous historical figures would do if they fell asleep and woke up in today's society. And we do this to kind of put our progress into perspective, because even though it doesn't feel like it most days, we've actually come a long way in this country, even since like the 1960s. But I think historical figures will get caught up in all the other advancements we've made well before they investigated our racial climate. Like, if Harriet Tubman had Google Maps or Rosa Parks had Lyft, I think their lives would be a lot better. Or like Abraham Lincoln, what would he do if he woke up in 2018? So he wakes up, probably with a splitting headache, both from sleeping too long and catching a bullet to the back of the skull tends to do that. He goes, "Good morning, Mary Todd." He looks over, she's not there. He looks at his calendar, sees it's 2018, and is devastated to realize that she's been dead much longer than she was ever alive. And, you know, he's upset, but he eventually gets over it, you know, after like 10 minutes or so, because she was a bitch, and he's glad she's gone. It's true, and if you didn't know that, read his second inaugural address a little closer next time. It'll rock your world. So he gets out of bed, he goes to the bathroom inside, which is already a huge upgrade. He washes his hands, brushes his teeth with an electric toothbrush, and, you know, trims his beard, which has grown rather unruly during his slumber. Heads back into his bedroom, gets dressed, and now there's a bunch of questions floating around in his head. So he decides to take to the streets to try to get some answers. So he's walking along, and he's trying to get strangers to talk to him, but now we're just all too socially isolated to speak with strangers we don't really know. And also, nobody recognizes him as Abraham Lincoln anymore. Like, nowadays, a white guy with a beard wearing a top hat, that's just Chaz on his way to Jamba Juice for work, and nobody wants to interact with that. It's like, you wouldn't want to interact either with, like, a guy holding a clipboard trying to get you to join his cause. Like, please help dyslexic dogs in Greece. They think they're Greek gods, and it's really sad when they realize they're not. Not gonna help you out on that one, sorry. So, nobody's helping Abraham Lincoln with these questions, so he decides to stop into a diner to grab some breakfast. And the hostess goes, "Hi sir, can I get you a table or a booth?" And he goes, "Booth where?" And almost runs out of the diner. But the hostess eventually gets him calmed down, sits him at a table, and says, "Your waiter will be right with you." Now Abe is excited. Someone has to talk to him, someone will answer his questions. So the waiter arrives, he goes, "Can I get you anything?" And he goes, "Not yet, but you can answer a question for me." And I don't think his first question had anything to do with race relations at all. I think he just goes, "So, how'd that play end? I've been dying to know." Not really any segues, so here's the next joke. I think, as human beings, we all share the desire, to some degree or another, to be famous. And I'm no different, I just think I look at it a little differently than most people. Like, I don't want to be very famous, I want to be just famous enough that rappers use my name in their songs to reference drugs. You know, like Bieber's cocaine, Miley Cyrus's Molly, and I could be like Fair Aspirin, because I'm not that exciting of a person. And to give you guys an example of how boring I am, the most exciting thing that happened to me over spring break was my mom fixed a hole in my pants which was like right around here. Not ideal. And the worst part is, I don't even have an exciting story of how it happened. It wasn't like my girl was like, let me at it! It was just me like uncrossing my legs a little too hard and just splitting right down the middle. But to go back to rap, I've been listening to it for years and I absolutely love it. But there's always been one thing that confused me a lot, and that's that we think that rappers are some of the toughest people in society. I mean, I kind of get it. We think they're tough because they live tough lifestyles and they know the names of a lot of weapons. But when you think about it, like, what do they do for a living? They rhyme words, which is the same thing that schoolgirls do out at recess playing double dutch. They're like, 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One used the Glock to shoot my brother in the head. That would be top 5 in the rap charts right now, if we're being honest. But this perceived toughness of rappers is part of the reason I don't really like Drake that much. And don't get me wrong, like, he's really talented. Just like Drake, to me, he's a lot like jelly. I don't really like him that much on his own, but if he's featured on a track, I can really get behind it. In the same way that I wouldn't like spoon raspberry jelly into my mouth, but put it on some bread with peanut butter and I really enjoy it. And you know, he tries to give off this tough persona, but you can't be tough and then have a line in the song that goes pop champagne in the tub. Like, those two things don't really go hand in hand together. It doesn't give the right image to your listeners. And he just sounds so fake to me. He tries to rap about struggling, but nobody named Aubrey has ever struggled in their life at all. I can promise you that. Oh, what's offensive about that? Oh, Aubrey's not, yeah. And I'm not trying to say that there aren't rappers who struggle. There definitely are. Like, J. Cole, he definitely has struggled. He's been fighting since birth. And the way I know this is the line in the song Land of the Snakes. He goes, came out the womb with my dick hard. Now, I'm no doctor, but that's definitely going to cause some birth complications. It's going to tear something up on the way out. But part of the reason I love rap so much is because I love hearing how rappers toy with the English language. You know, they play around with it. Sometimes it's through profound wordplay, and other times it's just funny. It's kind of like this give and take you have to get used to. So I'll give you an example. In the song Motorsport, Cardi B has the line, these hoes ain't who they say they are. They pussy stank, they catfishing. All right, Cardi, see what you did there. Nicely done. You've earned the respect of someone who looks like he complains about the volume of music in a Best Buy. But on the other hand, you have Big Sean in the song All Right. He goes, she doing tricks with her pussy, I guess she's a magician. I'm not one to take that title away from her. I just have some questions as to how she qualifies as a vagina magician. Like, I get it. You can probably make a penis disappear and reappear a bunch of times. But outside of that, what do you have? I want to be dazzled. Pull a rabbit out of there. Do the never-ending handkerchief trick. And for your big finale, bring out your hot male assistant, put him in your box, cut him in half, put him back together again, and go, ta-da! Then I might qualify you as a vagina magician, but not before that. All right, that is all I have. Thank you, vote for me, all that stuff. Thanks.